up, everybody? You guys want to help me out with something?
Yeah.
You guys want to do a little chant, get the energy going?
Yeah.
All right. Now I need your help. Just follow me, okay? Ooh. Ah. 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 Ah. Oh. Ah. Oh. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh. Oh. Oh no! Here we go! Here we go! Oh! Oh no! Here we go! Here we go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! All right. Yeah! Yeah! Okay. Okay. Woo. I created this slideshow. This is the old guy trying to use technology. 42 years old, and I finally figured out how to use PowerPoint, whatever this is called. So I created this in the nastiest, dirtiest ghetto extended stay in Montgomery, Alabama. Thank you so much. I want to start off. Now, if you're a lot like me, I like books with pictures, not the words. Right? Just kidding. I've read hundreds of books, but it is true. I would prefer that. Okay, how do I press play on this? Whew. I need to do no more cardio. How do I? Who likes the Discovery Channel? Can you guys see that? The Africans know how to do this.
Stick it in your nest you've made. This is the fun part.
15 minutes of fame, we're almost up here. Oh yeah! Who in here knows how to do that? Who can do that? You guys have done this before, okay. Because I was in wilderness survival, kind of like a program like that, at-risk youth. I was in 3 of these programs, and we didn't have ladders, we didn't have matches, and it was very difficult to learn the bow drill method. That was like the first one I ever learned. Learned 5 different fire methods. This is called the hand drill fire method. And in these wilderness survival programs, we would hike like a week's worth of hikes away just to get to food. We didn't have meat, we ate rice, beans, lentils. You guys have probably heard of programs like this. I was in 3 of them. And so I learned how to do this, and really wilderness survival is about being prepared. And so is knocking doors. The better prepared you are, the better you're gonna do on the doors. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because I'm kind of made this for guys that have never knocked a door, first-year guys like you. The best way, if you wanna learn how to do something like this, you ask the guys that know how to do it, that have experience doing it. That's kind of a no-brainer, right? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Here goes nothing.
This is my 18th year of doing this. I thought it through, made a lot of great decisions. I've done over 4,000 qualified credit accounts. That's not including subs. So I'm only putting all of this crap up here just because, I've done it for a while. So some of you guys might benefit from some of the things that I'm saying. And my last thing on the resume is I got shot on the doors, and almost died. But I sold 7 the next week while I was on pain medication. So I throw that in there.
Police are still investigating what led to a shooting in broad daylight in the 200 block of Martin Street. Our Courtney Chandler joins us live in the studio tonight with more. Courtney, good evening.
Good evening.
I was hoping they would have put a picture of me in there, but...
Millie Hagman said that now that Davis is in custody, they can move forward with this case.
We'll just move forward with all our documentation.
Right there, right them there.
And presentment to the court system.
Lieutenant Hagman.
Is in stable condition, and according to police, they said he's expected to still be okay.
All right, thanks.
And I'm still okay. So I'm gonna get to that. Yeah. He was confused.
Oh, that's a guy?
It was a dude. Yeah, he was housed with the men. He was a weirdo. Trust me. It was. And I'm gonna get into the story of this, right? And I always call this. My story is about the high performance habits, but I didn't always have high performance habits. I've also had low performance habits. I've had bad habits. So what is a habit? Anybody want to raise their hand and answer that? Something you do every day, right? Habits have different results. Good habits have good results. Bad habits have bad results. Kind of a no-brainer, right? So this is the result of what I would say a year or 2 of bad habits. It all accumulated into one moment. And that moment, I was in a really low moment of my life. I was selling, I think this was 2018, so this is like 8 years ago. I was going through a divorce. For some reason, I was depressed, but I was beyond depressed. I was in the lowest moment of my life. And I remember I was in a hotel in Dothan, Alabama. I was saying my nightly prayers, and I prayed to God that night. I said, God, I don't even want to wake up tomorrow. I don't want to live anymore. And I quit mentally. I've never done that before. The thing about quitting is a habit. And I've experienced it because I've done it myself. And I'm thankful for this lesson that I learned. That night I said my prayer, magically woke up the next day anyways. Somehow went to work. It's 100 degrees plus humidity, so it's like it's August. It's nasty, in Alabama. I sell a deal, and then I ask for a referral, and I go across the street. They're like, oh yeah, there's a old lady that her son takes care of her. Her son was Tony. So they had two ADT signs. I still remember to this day. There's two ADT signs. I'm skipping over there. I'm thinking, yeah, this is great. I'm like 80 pounds less back then. And I'm like, as soon as he opens the door, he wasn't happy to see me. I'm sure if Henry or Dan would have been a different outcome. But he started cussing me out. I'm not used to that. He got super confrontational, started calling my name out. We exchanged some words. And then he's like, get the F off my property. I'm going to grab my gun. And I'm like, yeah. It's Thursday, but it's not Tough Guy Thursday. And I walked off, right? I forgot, screw this guy. The fact that I was even working that day, I don't even know why. Because, I was in a bad place mentally. I go up the street, I knock a whole street with didn't get in the house. And then I seen this guy in my peripheral vision coming down the road. I'm like, oh, great. This guy's going to try to make it weird. You know what I'm talking about, right? You ever have those neighbors that follow you and they're like, don't talk to him, he's a scam. That's what I thought it was going to be. But he gets about, this far away from me where X is at. And I'm like, hey, I'm sorry about that, man. I'm sorry, look, we're not going to do anything. Would you like a business card? And he's shaking. I can tell he's nervous. And he says, we have unfinished business. And I'm like, no, we don't. And he pulls his gun out. So, considering what I was going through the night before, I must have been out of my mind to not just run right then and there. My ego took took over, We're from a Hawaiian family, so it's like a fight or flight thing. You guys understand that. You're either going to fight or flee. So I chose to stand my ground. I'm like, oh yeah? Are you going to pull a gun on me? You're going to pull a gun on me? If you're going to pull a gun on me, then do it! Do it! That's exactly how I said it. And I startled him when I said that. I'm out of my mind. I must have been borderline suicidal. And he looked at me, shot me. I'm on the ground, my paperwork's on the ground. The story's going a little longer than I would have expected, and I realized I'd been shot. Never been shot before. It's kind of interesting to be on the other side of the gun. You guys, there's somebody in this room that knows what that means. Immediately, I say, you shot me! I'm like, I can't make this stuff up, right? And he said, oh yeah, boy, and you're going to commit suicide today, boy. And he caught his revolver, he cocked it and pointed at my head. So he's about this distance, he's got it aimed at my head. And I remember immediately, I can't believe this is happening. I remember what I prayed for the night before, and I realized I'd made a terrible mistake. I didn't want to be there anymore. I didn't want to die. I wasn't depressed anymore. Yeah. I just wanted to live. I wanted to see my kids again. And it happened so fast, I couldn't believe that this was happening. And so while I'm on the ground, I always tell people I believe that God allowed me to choose in that moment the direction that things would go. Because half of my monkey brain was like, just do it. And the other half was like, I want to see my kids. And so I grabbed my phone out of instinct. When I consciously chose the one choice or the other, I grabbed my phone and I pretended like I was recording them. And I started again. And he took the gun from my head. He pointed at my phone, put your phone down. Put your phone down now. And I was like, no. And in that moment when I knew that he didn't have it pointed at my head, I got up and I just started there must have been a bunch of invisible, linebackers that I was juking. I was going back and forth. I got to the end of the road. He started calmly following me down the road. Just kept following me. I thought he was going to shoot me again, didn't shoot me. And I got enough distance away from him, then my leg gave out, and I'm limping down the road. I get my phone out, and I just got shot. Where are you at, sir? Where are you at, sir? I don't know. Let me find a street sign. Just spazzing out. Finally, they came and got him 3 minutes later, arrested him, booked him on attempted murder. By the way, like I said, I haven't used PowerPoint in like 12 years, so it's very, very plain Jane here. But the lessons that I learned from that life is a blessing. There's a couple of you guys in here that have been through hard things. We all have, right? And will go through harder things in your life. Regardless of how hard life gets, life's a blessing, whether it's your personal choices that you've made that made your life difficult or the outside circumstances. Life's a blessing. Can I get an amen? Amen. It really is. And I had to learn that lesson to understand that. The second lesson I learned was that life isn't fair. Life's not fair. Never will be. And I say that because within a week, they gave that man a bail for attempted murder. If, let's say, Victor, you get out there and shoot somebody, you getting a bail, bro? I ain't gonna give you a bail, man. I couldn't believe it. But there's so many stories of people I've met. And what we do is amazing, especially with the cameras, because I can't tell you how many mothers I've met whose sons have been murdered in the streets that we knock on. And those cameras are important, right? If there would have been some DVR cameras, we probably would have got better footage, I could have showed you today. So you're a product of your choices, more so than a product of your environment. When you're a kid, you're a product of your environment. When you become an adult, your environment is a product of your choices. Who you're around, the results that you have, and it takes me to take this. Got this in like some off-brand Napoleon Hill book, but it stuck with me. And so all of this is like not a secret. This is stuff we already know. But how did I get there? How did I get to all of these low-performing habits? While I was going through my divorce, I relapsed on alcohol, I was drinking, using, womanizing, all the bad. I was that guy in 2008. I still sold like 235 that year, but I was still that guy that would go get a deal, get in an Uber and smash back to Mobile. Just bad habits all around. And so habits start with your thoughts. Your thoughts, what you think, what you got going on in here becomes how you feel, right? It becomes your emotional state. Your emotional state then becomes the decisions you make, how you act, your actions. Then finally, all of that becomes your results in your life. Would you guys agree with that? Yeah. It makes sense to me. Fortunately, I'm a knucklehead like a lot of people. Got to learn things the hard way sometimes. But I'm thankful to have learned that. So your thoughts become your emotions, which become your actions, which become your results. If you don't like the results of anything in your life right now, whatever it is, your relationship, your numbers, blase, 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 it all goes back. You have to go back to how you think about things, because what you got going on in here spreads to everything else. All right, see if I can remember where I was going with this. Okay, so let me rewind back to 2008. That's how I got into the industry, around 2008. When I was a kid, I was in a lot of trouble, like a lot of young men. Don't know why. I mean, I do know why. I spent 7 years in the youth authority and penitentiary system. So I understand how lucky I am even to be here. Got permission from James to say that. It's been 20 years, right? They can't do nothing to me. The statute of limitations already ran out. I remember sitting in my cell in Walla Walla, Washington State Penitentiary. I became so distraught with the results of my life. I was tired of being a loser. I was tired of not having the things that I want. I was tired of people giving up on me, not believing in me. It's gonna sound corny to you guys, but when I was a kid, I wrestled in clubs and I wrestled in school before I started getting in a lot of trouble. So I had this base competitive nature, right? I was in my cell and I was watching TV with my buddy and the fights were on, and I was watching the story of how Bernard Hopkins became a world champion after getting out of prison. And I was watching the Cades fights. And for some reason, that triggered and sparked something in me. I said, I want to be like them. I want to be a winner. Anyone that's been in sports that have high aspirations and dreams, that was I don't know what the word for it, the ignition or whatever that triggered, this is what I'm going to do. This is going to be my way out of this. This is going to be my way out of this situation. Within a month after I trained for my whole prison sentence. Every day that was on my mind, and that's how I trained. Now, granted, I'm 42 now, so my body is a little different than it was back then. Because of this is what allowed me to get into this industry. Because your work ethic whether it's good or bad. If it's good, it'll put you in rooms that you never thought you would be in. It'll put your circle of influence around people that you never thought you'd be around. Would you guys agree with that? It's happened to me. So the things that I learned from wrestling, boxing, and mixed martial arts was extreme discipline. This ties into high performance habits because I learned these when I got out, right? I learned how to be a winner. Every morning I wake up at 4 a.m., 6-mile run, boom, done in 45 minutes, back home, going to work a 10-hour shift at the shipyards, go home, eat something, go to the gym, train, work, bag work, sparring. Sometimes I'd run again after that, or sometimes I'd go home and go to sleep. Back in my 20s, when I was a lot of your guys' age, I only slept 4 hours a day. That's how I was in good shape. That's all I needed. You know, and a lot of the time I'm dieting, I'm cutting weight. Jeremiah knows it's difficult, right? So things I took from combat sports that helped me in alarms. Work ethic. I talked a little bit a second ago about unrealistic goals. After I won a couple fights, I started to believe that I could become a world champion. I'm going to be a world champion. I believe in myself. And I had this unrealistic belief in myself. I had an unrealistic goal. Like barely anybody becomes world champion, bro. But I thought I would be. And everybody doubted me. My ex-girlfriends, people in my neighborhood, you know, that's because they weren't pursuing that goal. That's because they weren't doing what I'm trying to do. So just like that, if you guys want to have high performance habits and achieve a lot in this industry, you're going to have those unrealistic goals. You're going to have to believe in yourself when nobody else does. Nobody believed in me. And nobody believed in me when I got into alarms. You got to be able to take a beating. You got to be durable. You know, I was never the best guy in the gym. Go back here. I forgot to mention that when you get into circles that you thought you'd never be in, because of my work ethic, I had an opportunity to train at the Mayweather Boxing Club. My sparring partner in 2009 was George Soteropoulos. He'd in the UFC, a signed fighter. He's retired now. But he had a good run in the middleweight division. But he'd walk around at like 185 and cut down to like 155 and super emotional when he cut weight and just not a pleasure to be around. And I ended up winning. I won a state title, went to the Golden Gloves, went to the Oregon Silver Gloves, and won a state title. So I understood what winning and working hard to win, what that entailed. And that entailed a lot of sacrifice. But like I was saying, I wasn't the toughest guy in the gym. Not even close. So you know, when you're cutting weight and you don't have a bunch of energy and you're getting beat on and you are trying to fight back, but you ain't got it, your legs are gone. You know, I've sparred 3, 6, 9, 12 rounds. Gave me an incentive to stay out of trouble. It's the same thing that applies in alarms. You're going to have a lot of opportunity to hang around scrubs and engage in bad habits. You're going to have an opportunity to make good decisions, study, read, be around other people, pick their brain, be around winners. It's all about your circle of influence and who you're hanging out with. I tell this to my kids all the time. I didn't become a world champion. Newsflash, right? I didn't. But I became a world champion in other areas. Gained my freedom, got off parole, became clean and sober, became a father. Who would ever thought I would have been a father? So, skip all this. I believe in God, sobriety, and having a physical outlet. Those 3 things can take you a long way. I'm not saying you need to do that. I'm just saying that's what works for me. There's a quote that my dad used to always tell me when I was locked up, that work is honorable. It's good therapy for most problems. It is the antidote for worry. It's the equalizer for deficiency of native endowment. Work makes it possible for the average to approach genius. What we may lack in aptitude, we can make up for in performance. What does that last sentence mean to someone in here? James, what does that last sentence mean? And I sold 16 my first summer. I worked harder than anybody. 16. Nobody's going to sell 16 in here, trust me. But I worked hard every day, and I'd sell 1 a week. I worked hard. The guys that I was around would drink all night, and they'd stumble out of the van puking, and it was just a hot mess. And they were outselling me. So I had to figure it out, and I figured it out the hard way, and then realized, oh, hey, if you read books, you'll get better. I'm just going to give the game away to the first-year guys. I'm not saying you need to do this. This is what I do. 42. This is my schedule. This is what I've done the last 2 years that I've been here. I wake up at the same time every day, around 7 a.m. I recite as soon as I wake up. Who knows the self-confidence formula in here? There's 5 of them. Napoleon Hill's self-confidence formula. I know I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action towards its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. That's the first one. There's 4 more. And I recite that 5 times. Like in my sleep, as soon as I'm like conscious that I'm kind of awake, I start it. It's weird, I know, but that's what I've been doing, right? If I'm on my way to Hood, I'm reciting this. I'm reciting this while I'm drinking my energy drink because I'm getting my mind in the right, because high performance starts in your mind. It doesn't start anywhere else. So I'm getting myself ready for all of the day that I'm going to be engaging. I'm on the doors by 9 a.m., no later than 10. Okay? That's every day that I'm working when I'm like on a blitz and I work all the hours from start until dark when I want to maximize earning potential. And then I go to the gym at night as a reward. And I'm asleep same time every night almost. Right? This is what old people do. I'm not saying you got to do it. This is what I do. I think maybe it's a good place to end. These are the results of high performance habits. I travel everywhere, all over the world. I've won a bunch of stuff. Won the Golden Door with my friends, a bunch of homies in here. I'm able to keep a good relationship with all my kids. I got endowed, for those of you who know what that is, and I was married and sealed in the Bogota, Colombia temple. That was all happening in the last few years. Ask someone who knows, man. You got to ask someone who knows. Don't be too prideful and try to reinvent the wheel. Ask people that know. You got to focus on the small improvements. You're not going to do it all at once. Your thoughts become your emotions, which become your actions, which become your results. So you need to create, my last piece of advice would be, for you first year guys, you need to create your own. So the system, let's say, pick on you. You have a system that you use, right? Okay? The person in your office that has a system that's working, copy and paste it. It's that simple. If Danny's doing something, like, what's Danny doing? Do what he's doing. It's a copy and paste industry, for real. If I can learn how to work hard and learn how to do this, anybody can learn how to do this. What better person to put on here than someone who has the highest performance habits that I've ever met in the industry? And I met some guys that are, smoke everybody, but really for the first year guys, you just need to focus on doing what you're capable of, what your best is, not what somebody else's best is. What is your best? Because sometimes you can only give 1, 2, 3, 4%. So the only thing you need to do is give your best. And that's it. That's all you need to do. This is my favorite video.
Monday we're leaving early in the morning. We're getting on the doors as early as you possibly can. We're getting home. We're exhausted walking through the door. We're literally just getting a few hours of sleep, trying to download our day and then get ready for the next day. By the time Thursday comes around, I'm exhausted. We're driving out. I'm emotionally tired. My attitude's probably not perfect. And I'm thinking, man, this is going to be rough. I'm just going into my little quiet place, trying to figure out how I'm going to throw up a huge day. The thought comes to my mind, and it's been a thought that I've had for many years of my life, is just put one foot in front of the other. Don't think. Don't overanalyze it. Just get up and go. Just get up and go to work. Don't psych yourself out. Just get up and move. As hard as the day began, ended up being the greatest day I've ever had in 15 years of knocking doors. I think with the greatest challenge comes the greatest triumph. I knew I could do more. We ran out of daylight. We were still closing deals. And it's just, the reality of it is that it's never enough. And part of the game of life is every day getting a little bit better. I don't think when I'm 3 I had a good day. I thought, man, if I got 3 good days, no longer 3, it's 5. And when 5 isn't good, 10 is good, 15. For me, it's never been about what others do. It's never been about the number. It's about what I can do with the limited amount of time. I just purely look at success as, am I getting better every day? Am I progressing? Am I learning more? I love pain because I love the sweetness of triumph, of victory. I love the sweetness of driving home at the end of the competition and knowing that I did everything possible, doing your absolute best is all that you need to do.
Thank you.